Shalom, shalom. We are back with another Quiet Wife Talk episode. As promised, the topic is admire. So, learning to admire my husband has been the most intense, breathtaking, heart-pounding experience for me. The mind is such a powerful tool given from the Most High. And so I pray that the things I share with you that I have learned on my journey gives you the same results. So I just want to start off by saying all praises, honor, and esteem to the Most High, Yahweh. Okay, ladies, I have literally been lusting for my husband day and night and just been in awe and just praying and thanking God for him, so sincerely. Admiring your heads brings about rewards for both you and him, okay? For a man, a need is being met and is causing him to grow in masculinity and succeed in his walk. Your greatest need is love, so when you give him admiration, he responds with love. Okay, I'm just gonna get straight to the point with this one. A man needs you to admire him for his manliness, period. We spoke about how you appreciate him, right? For his true worth and the things that he does for you. But you admire him for his masculine skills, his abilities, dreams, achievements, and manly body. The center of a woman's happiness in marriage is to be loved, but the center for a man is to be admired. Since they are little boys, they crave admiration. A man loves admiration from any and every source, but it's nothing like receiving it from the woman that he loves. A woman who can pass over his shortcomings and discover things to genuinely admire is a woman without price. Okay, and this wins his deepest and most tender affections. As we give admiration, they return that love, like I mentioned. Sometimes a man will deliberately do or say something in the presence of a woman, hoping to win that admiration, and it puts our beloved on dangerous grounds when we fail in this area. And we're too caught up in our own little world, to take notice, and they may become vulnerable and become an easy target for another woman to prey on. So, it's a well-known fact that men turn to other women not so much for sex as for admiration. So this is like a huge deal in nourishing our husband's masculinity. It's a part of a man's makeup to need this admiration. My son, I even noticed, like, my son and other little boys that I've observed, do things to show how strong they are and look up to see if I'm watching. Oh, look at me, I can do this, look how strong I am, and it's like, or they'll do something and then turn around and look up like, did she see me, and that praise that we give our sons builds their confidence and growth into manhood. So be sure to have a healthy balance of correction and praise to help mold your sons into well-nurtured men. I just wanted to add that in there. But young men search for a woman who is an uncritical listener who can see him and appreciate his dreams and ideas and admire that. Okay? And now if you only admire things like his kindness, good looking, his thoughtfulness, if he's well groomed, he may appreciate your praise, but those are traits that both men and women can possess. So it'll do little to stir his feelings for you. His masculinity is what he wants noticed and appreciated, like his skills, his handiness, masculine body or his build, his abilities, achievements, his dreams. That is what will awaken those tender feelings of affection. Admire his deep-pitched voice, his large hands, his beard, his muscles, anything that distinguishes him as part of the male sex. Admire his strength, how he lifts something or opens something for you, like a jar. Admire his field of work and skills it takes. If he has a deep desire or dedication toward a worthy dream or goal, admire that. His chivalry towards you and the children, or courage to face situations to ensure your safety. Especially a man who serves as a protector, a leader, and a provider for his family. He's performing a very masculine duty and deserves both the appreciation and admiration for the skills and ability it requires. Admiration of his masculinity, simple put, is important because it makes him feel manly. And it is an enjoyable experience for him. When a woman supplies her husband with admiration, she becomes indispensable to his happiness. And he'll turn to you again and again for that comfort that you're giving him and the feeling of manliness he experiences in your presence. So admiring his masculinity is one of the keys to winning his love and devotion. When you're discovering things to admire, you have to observe him. Most of the time, our thoughts are so focused on our own concerns of, keeping the house, concerns about the children, or personal problems, or things that we were involved in. Just try to intentionally think about your king. What kind of man is he? What kind of problems is he faced with? What does he have to overcome? Or what has he overcome? What has he done with his life so far? What are his strong points, his goals? Admire these things and keep your eye sharp, okay, to find things to admire as you observe your husband. Observe these 3 categories: brains, brawn, and skill. And you can't go wrong. And now another thing of great importance is, ladies, listen. Listen to him talk. That will be your greatest opportunity to admire him, especially when he talks about himself, subjects that interest him, or his life away from home. He's most apt to show talent and ability when he speaks about his work and display his manly qualities and courage when facing difficulties. So encourage him to talk about himself. Just stir the conversation to things that he takes interest in. Encourage your Lord until he's just wound up in the subject. And once you see that he's enjoying the conversation, make small comments and ask questions and then learn to listen. The key to being a good listener is this: Don't listen only to what he is saying, but to the man who is saying it. Don't follow the conversation so closely that you now are wound up and you have to put your opinion, and it's led to an argument. Just listen and pay more attention to how absorbed he is in the subject, how he has mastered the details, and what skill and knowledge he's gained, how he has worked out and developed his own ideas about the matter, how loyal and devoted he is to them, what mental or moral power he can wield. So follow the conversation, of course, but follow the man too. He'll be disappointed, in fact, if you are only following the subject and not the man expressing himself. Also note that you can safely guess that if he deliberately talks over your head, he is doing so only to arouse your admiration. You don't even need to be well educated or highly intelligent to follow a clever man's discourse. Providing him with the pleasure of admiration, he'll hardly notice. Let me tell you the issue about the clever woman who listens just for the intentions of enriching her own mind, so that when the opportunity presents itself, she can parakeet, or she only listens with the intentions to respond or to have a rebuttal. But she that is wise listens to the intent to build her king up and boost his self-esteem, like the Proverbs 14:1 woman, right? It says, every wise woman buildeth her house, but the foolish plucketh it down. So listen with the intentions to build and to boost, okay, and help nourish his masculinity. It isn't about you, okay? Sometimes being a good servant is just by simply listening. And tips with expressing admiration: make sure you're sincere. Okay, you'll have to cultivate true sincerity in admiring your husbands before you can express it, because never is sincerity more important than when it relates to a man's most sensitive nature, his pride in himself, and especially his masculinity. Okay, another tip is to be specific when expressing certain incidents or qualities. And this is why you have to sincerely observe him. You don't want to just be like, oh, you're such a manly kind of man. Because then what if he's like, okay, how so? Or what is it about me that makes you say that? And then you just, if you can't come up with an answer in a timely fashion, you're going to look foolish. You're going to look crazy. Okay, so take time to observe and be sincere, ladies. And take heed to be applying acceptance, like we discussed, because you don't want to be admiring some ways and are critical in other ways. Okay, it's going to be like serving a piece of moldy pie and just trying to throw some whipped cream on top to cover it up, Okay, it's not very, it's not going to just seem genuine. You have to accept the whole man before your admiration will be well received. And let me emphasize as well that learning to listen, and when we fix our starry-eyed gaze on our husbands and give him our undivided attention, close your book, put your phone away, put down the pen, whatever it is that you're doing, and just give him that undivided attention and listen, he'll open up more. He'll share more, and it breaks down barriers. It creates love in your marriage. Okay, sometimes the way we can serve, like I said, we serve others by simply listening and providing space. So just pause. Sometimes be intentional about just pausing on your duties and sitting quietly at his feet. And you'll see, when you provide that space, how he'll start speaking, and just being more open. Okay, so rules for admiration. Accept him at face value. Number 2, think about him. Number 3, observe him. Number 4, listen to him. Number 5, express admiration in words. Number 6, be sincere. And number 7, be specific. Now the assignment I want you to do, okay, for this week is to write down 10 masculine things that you admire about your husband. Number 2, when the opportunity presents itself, okay, do it at the right time when you know that, like for me, the time where I know my husband is the most engaged and attentive to me is during the time when I'm ovulating. And that's mostly the case for everybody. It's just in our genes. It's something about it that men are, very in tune with us naturally. So ask him to write down 10 things he likes about you. And, just ask him, can we do this little assignment together? I think it'll be fun, Okay? And you do the same for him. And then you guys have to read your list to one another. Okay? And try to take time and explain why you admire these traits. What is it about that person, your husband, that makes you admire those things or like those things about that person? Because and don't just hand each other the list. Okay, you want to observe his reaction and record just favorable results in your love booklet. Okay, so number 3 for this week's assignment, during the coming week, observe him. If you see any masculine qualities, express your admiration. Okay, and make sure that you're recording the results. And last but not least, listen to him talk and just follow the rules that I explained. All right. Thank you for tuning in. And until we meet again on the 50 Shades of Femininity, Shalom.